What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Mello. Have you ever found yourself walking in a store, minding your business, and as you come across a white person, they just refuse to stand to the side so that you could pass, or even say excuse me so that they could pass? Well, that's no coincidence. It's one of the many microaggressions white people display towards black people. Now, I remember reading somewhere that white people sort of see black people as objects rather than people, and they don't move out of the way for objects, which is why they expect us to move. One way I found useful to counter this is to just stand there. From that point, they'll have two options. They can either say excuse me or simply go around. As I'm becoming older, I simply have zero tolerance for racism or anything of the sorts. This is how I feel. I can't help that I was born black, and I refuse to be treated away just because I was. Now, I think we as black people all know how difficult it could be working in corporate America. Black women often share how they're targeted at work and how they're told they have attitudes, or how they've made a white counterpart uncomfortable simply for existing. I'm going to play a video of an older white woman explaining the fear that some of them have towards black women. And I want you all to pay very close attention to gain a better understanding of why some black women are viewed as a threat in the working field. Check this clip out.
So this lady asks, this black lady, are white women really that scared of black women? And I'm going to say yes. And this is my opinion as a white woman who is 53 years old and has lived in the South in Georgia in my entire life. But it's not being scared, but it's a fear. And it's not a physical fear. It is the mental fear. It is what we see in you and what we see you doing and how it challenges us and the fear of that. So we see black women and we see how strong you are. We see you coming together as a community. We see you supporting each other. We see you supporting your community, supporting your families, supporting your children, going out and fighting for your rights, being authentic in your race and in your femininity. Anyway. And we're jealous. I think we're jealous because we would love to be that, I think, and we don't know how to break out of the indoctrination that we have been suppressed by our entire lives. And I'm not giving white women a pass, don't get me wrong, but I know I, and most women have been told, white women have been told our entire lives, be quiet, know your place, be a good girl, don't rock the boat, don't be too much. And when you are any of those things, you are ostracized because you have rocked their boat. And that is what black women are. You rock our boat, our mental boat, because you challenge us to look at how we are deficient and not living in our truth, and it makes us uncomfortable. And people don't like to be uncomfortable, and it makes us start to question ourselves, and people don't like to question themselves. We would rather live in our little bubble of white supremacy and what we know and comfortableness. I know that's not a word. Than a lot of people would, white women would, rather than challenge themselves to grow and know more, because it's easy. Doing the work is hard. It's really hard. I've been doing the work the past several years, and it's hard. It is hard admitting some truths about yourself and some truths about yourself as a white woman. So yeah, I think that white women are scared of black women because you challenge us in that way, and a lot of us don't like it. And that's why we fear you. It's because we fear what you make us face.
Really makes you think, huh? Now these feelings can be amplified when you're the only black person at that job and male as well. When I worked in the mental health field, more times than not, I was the only black man there. And my work was often micromanaged so much that other people got away with things because the focus was always on me. I had one manager that was so racist that she constantly targeted me and tried to downplay my work. She'd say things like, make sure your writing is legible. I can't understand it when I try to read it. But it's interesting because back in college when I took the placement test, yes, I placed in the highest English writing class that there was. And this is something that I've noticed they'll try to use against you. If you're too smart, they can't believe it and they want to downplay your abilities. But on the flip side, I also had another white manager tell me she was surprised by how well written one of my emails was to her. You know the old classic, "You are so articulate," which translates to, "I'm completely shocked that black people know how to read and write." It's really unfortunate some of the things we as black people have to face day in and day out at work. I'll never forget the time that we were at work and we had a Zoom meeting. A black female coworker of mine's logged in and I remember a manager asking her what was wrong. She looked at him and said nothing, like, "Why do you think something is wrong?" And he told her it was because she wasn't smiling. It took everything in me to say, well, the white girls aren't smiling, but you didn't say anything about that. We as black people are looked at through a microscope at work and our work is judged 10 times harder. Now, I got a dog last year, and when I say I have never had so many white people approach me, I've never had this many white people approach me. Before I got my dog, I always felt kind of invincible to white people, and to be honest, I kind of like it that way. But now that I have my dog, I notice that they'll notice my dog first, and then they'll notice me. They'll say hi to her first as if she can talk, and then they'll try and start a conversation with me. But I've also noticed the spite that some white people have now that I own a dog. One time I was in the car and I had my dog in the back seat, and I was waiting for this white couple to cross so that I could proceed to come out. While they were doing that, I glanced down at my phone and I noticed that the white woman was literally waiting for me to look up to show me that she was waving at my dog and not me. Now, I'm not sure if she thought that was hurting my feelings, but it was just very weird that she took the time out of her day to do something like that. Another instance I had was one where I was pulled over by the cops. Again, I had my dog with me in the back seat. 2 cops came up to the window and their hands were already on their guns. You know, for white people to be so scared of black people, they sure do pull us over a lot. But that's neither here nor there. As I shared, they both had their hands on their guns as they were approaching me. And once the cop saw my dog, he literally tried talking to her and tried to pet her. But when it came to me, he was ready to shoot. It's very eerie how some white people value a dog's life more than black people's life. Another microaggression white people are known to do is not giving black people the right of way. I can't tell you how many times I've almost been run over because a white person has refused to honor the right of way when I'm crossing the street. I mean, it's come so close that if I hadn't swallowed my pride and stopped, my feet would have legit been run over numerous times by them. Now, what about this one? Ever been in the store shopping and you've been mistaken for a worker? All of a sudden you'll hear, "Excuse me, where can I find this?" In my experience, this is usually done out of spite and malicious intent, especially when the store you're in has uniforms and you're not wearing one. When this happens, I usually tell the person, "Oh, I was about to ask you the same thing." Then they'll say, "Oh, I don't work here." Hit them with that, "Well, you look like it." Works like a charm every time. Now, thankfully, I've never been in this particular situation, but what about when white people block access to a building a black person lives in? Check this clip out.
Please move, ma'am.
I can. Do you live here?
I'll answer that question, excuse me.
De'Arion Tolles was returning home from a late night at the office.
But you're blocking me. and I live
Into
here.
my building.
Okay, and
Okay.
it's my building as well, so I need you to get out my way.
Okay, what unit?
I don't need to tell you that information. So excuse me, ma'am.
I'm uncomfortable.
Excuse me. Okay, you can be uncomfortable. That's your discretion. You're uncomfortable because of you.
A tenant who lives on the 3rd floor of the Elder Shirt Lofts created a roadblock.
I don't like the fact you have your phone in my face.
Okay, I don't like the fact that you're blocking me for where I pay.
All
to
I'm
live at.
asking is what unit?
But you're not. I don't need to tell you that information, ma'am.
If you want to come into my building.
It's not your building. You're not the owner. You pay rent.
Sir, you walked up on a street.
Yes,
that
yes,
has-
and I've already buzzed in.
Tolles shows a fob, moves past the woman who News 4 will not name, takes an elevator to the 4th floor. The woman follows.
Did this really just happen to me? And it did happen to me, so I was really taken away at the moment.
His cell phone video shows the woman staying on him after he uses his key to enter his downtown loft.
No. Have a good night, ma'am. Don't ever do that again. You look pretty stupid on video. Have a nice night. And my name is Mr. Tolles.
That's where News 4 met the St. Louis business owner.
I was kind of blown away, like shocked, wow. I'm just glad I had my camera out, because if I didn't have my camera out, I feel that it could have went a totally different way.
Millions have watched the video online.
I appreciate all the love and support, and like I said, don't respond negative. Don't go after the lady. Let her be at peace. Let her live her life.
News 4 buzzed the woman's unit and also called numbers listed for her, but never got her response.
Notice how she said that she's uncomfortable, yet she was the one who instigated this whole ordeal. And this is something that we as Black people have to deal with often. White people starting something and later on playing victim and crying, also known as white tears. The list just goes on and on. I'm going to insert a link down below in the description box to a list of other microaggressions so you all can know when you're dealing with them. I think it's so important that we as Black people equipped ourselves with as much knowledge as possible so we have a better chance at fighting and combating racism and microaggressions. As they say, knowing is only half the battle. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up or thumbs down as that's okay too. Go ahead and drop a comment down below and let me know your thoughts on this video. What do you think about these microaggressions that we as Black people have to face? What are some microaggressions that you've personally faced? And as always, if you're not already, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel and make sure to hit that post notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos as I do upload them weekly. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day and I'll catch you all on the next video.
Thank you.